younger sister, she didn't have any children. And Frank says, "It's mine, I'll take care of it." You know? I had a dozen kids if he liked them as much as I did.
Yeah.
Well, you almost had half a dozen.
Hmm?
You almost had half a dozen.
I did. But age was creeping up on me too at that time, you know. Time to quit.
So let's go ahead and take it
The pictures?
up to the present, and then we'll look at the pictures here.
You want to see what? I didn't hear your first word.
So what we want you to do is tell us everything you've been doing kind of lately. What's your life like now?
Oh,
and then
lovely.
I think it's actually a quick, interesting story how you got out to Port Chicago with that real nice lady. That's kind of cute. And then we'd love to look at your pictures.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and what a great story, and what a happy
Okay.
ending here with all the grandkids and everything. Isn't that just the greatest story? This is what we
Well,
find with all these guys.
Yesterday I had not only grandkids but my great grandchildren here,
Oh, wow.
and that little Eon, he just loves this grandma. He says you're the best. He's about 7. The oldest one is 10, and then they have Michelle had two boys and then 2 girls. And little Ellie is like my Cindy. You don't tell her anything; she tells you.
Well, good for them. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Wonderful.
and then Emery. Yeah, she's named Eleanor. They call her Ellie. Yeah, and you know, we go out when Michelle lives in Utah, so whenever she comes, she's got a date with Grandma to go out to lunch. So this time, blessed, it was just me and the kids and her. It was a great time. We had came home and had ice cream and stuff. And they're just really cute kids. You know, I have others, but I don't see them. Bob has grandchildren, but I don't see them. So can't win them all.
Where do they
and
live?
And Mimi, West Pittsburgh area, all around
here.
here. Yeah, Mimi has a beautiful daughter, Nicole. I think she has graduated as a psychologist from Davis. I think she went up there, and I used to take care of her all the time too.
Oh.
And when I got here, I took care of Ashley, Jack's youngest daughter. She was 4 months, and Robin was working, and so I had her 5 days a week.
You love the grandma
Till
babysitters at our
till she
house.
was 8 years old. Yeah,
Oh.
I used to put her on this swing, and she'd go to sleep in this she'd swing. Had a little swing there for her. And I have to show you I have a rubber band ball. It's this big, but it was about that big when I started it with Ashley. So she's now 23, 24.
Oh, wow.
I've been putting on the newspaper rubber bands every day.
Right.
Anyway, she'd sit over there and I'd sit here and she'd toss the ball to me and we'd play ball back and forth. Now the grandkids were playing with this ball that's out here that I found in the fern garden. How it got there, I don't know. But we played ball yesterday too. So it's fun. They're nice. But anyway, I retired from Rossmore.
How long ago?
A long time ago.
Long time, okay.
I was 65. So let's see, 65 from 93 is 28 years.
Almost 30.
Yeah. And I continued to live 2 years there in Walnut Creek. Then I decided I needed something else, and so I came over here it was a Sunday, and I don't know how I found the place, but I did. And the owner was standing in the living room painting, and I walked through and I saw, oh my gosh, it's got a laundry room. And it had a garage. But the laundry room is what set me off. And I walked into it, Roy, and I said, I'll take it. And I've been here ever since. And one neighbor said, boy, he's sure lucky for what you do. And I said, no, I'm the lucky one. He lets me do what I want to do. He
He
is.
landscaped his property.
Huh?
You landscaped his property.
Yeah, he's, he lets me do this, and now he sold it, and Teresa, she lets me do too the same
Oh.
thing.
Well, they're smart.
Yeah, it is,
They're smart.
and I've added to it instead of detracted from their property. I'm sure of that. But it feels like a home to me,
Yeah.
and I love that big living room window, and it's just right for one person. Although you haven't seen it, but I have the garage converted into what you
guest
guess
room?
call family room, and I have a hide-a-bed out there that I use.
So you can have guests over.
Yeah. I mean, Dick always stays here. He doesn't
Oh.
stay with Jack or anybody. He stays. He and Cheryl always stay here
Do you get a lot of visitors?
overnight.
No, in general.
I have a good, yeah.
Okay.
I go to church with Jack. I had always been a Queen of All Saints person, and my kids were there, and I always worked for him. Frank did too, and then we never moved, but then they built St. Bonaventure's. So in those days, you had to go out there, and then they built St. Agnes right close to our house. So then we had to go there. So I was away from Queen of All Saints for several years. And after I retired, I found out they were remodeling it. So I went down to see what it was like. And Bob, I have to give him credit. He's the one that got us back into the church. He came home one day from work and found his wife dead. And he went to his dad and said, "Would you go to church with me?"
Well, what happened to her?
I don't know. I think she was, I don't know if she had cirrhosis or what. She had something. But well, it was a terrible shock anyway to come home and just have her gone like that, And, but anyway, they started going to St. Agnes all the time, And I kept saying, "I want to go to Queen of All Saints. Won't somebody take me?" I don't drive. I quit driving. And finally, Jack said he would take me. So we had a great thing going.
And you never looked back.
Huh?
And you never looked back.
Well, I can't say that exactly.
Oh, okay.
I won't go into it because this is public. But anyway, Pat, who just lost her husband, needed help lighting a big Paschal candle one day, and she saw Jack sitting there. He's tall, and so she asked him to help, and that started it. And he started opening up for the church and everything. And we'd come home here and have breakfast, cook together. We had a great time. And
Talking about a great time, I really enjoyed meeting you out at the Port Chicago ceremony. Could you tell us a quick? I guess you happened to just
how I got back into Port Chicago?
how you got back in there, and then I'll ask you a couple of questions and you can answer them as you feel fit. Then how did that whole Port Chicago experience in 1944 change your life? And then the last question is, just how do you feel about the United States of America and our foreign policy? And we call it kind of being protective, but let's face it, we send a lot of troops overseas to kind of keep the bad guys away. And that, we have to do that. I kind of was explaining that to my daughters about how when you have people like Stalin and Mao and Hitler, all the rules are out. You have to do, and we're the good guys. But how do you feel?
But we're also the bad guys sometimes.
Sure, we can be a little pushy, and sometimes we deal with bad guys. I used to do that in the oil business. Occasionally, we're signing contracts with people we know aren't good, but they're that's who runs the country.
Well,
Right.
I have a friend in the.
Sure.
I have a friend in the embassy I met at church.
Oh.
And how I met him first was his little boy. And he was sitting next to me and he smiled. And I said, "Oh, Caesar, you have the most beautiful smile. Don't you ever lose it." And that same day, I had forgotten my cell phone. I had taken a cab to church. Jack would go back, take his father, and then he'd take me once in a while. So I went on my own. And I'm talking to Father Joe, and I said, "I forgot my cell phone. Can I go over to the rectory and use the phone?" He, "Oh, sure." And all of a sudden, this voice behind me says, "Well, where do you live? I'll take you home." And I turned around and looked, and I said, "I don't live far. I just live on the Alameda." "Well, you show me where, and we'll take you home." And so I met Mitch, Jane, and Cesar and Rico that day. And we became fast friends. And I learned that Mitch is in the embassy. And what he does, I never ask. But they're over in China now. But they came home. He'd be there 3 years, but he came home. He'd been 1 year already. And she called me on Mother's Day and said they were coming in July and they were going to stop by. And wouldn't you know, here they're from Virginia, so they were flying clear back there, you know, from China. But they have a son that's Rico's in Arizona State, so they went to see him. But they came to see me and walked in church, and the lady says, "I think your friends are here." And when she did, there's a big kid that was so little, is 6 foot, a sophomore in high school, comes up and hugs me, and I turned around and sees her, you know. And he and I had a great time in church. We used to play games and all. We drove her crazy. And walking down, of course, Jane is standing down there with her arms wide open, and Mitch, you know, we just... And I was on a high all day. I didn't come down off that high all day long. It was so good to see them. And then before they left, they came back and to see me again. And they always bring me gifts. I got gifts from Baghdad, U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, and now in China. They're just... And I know when they come back, they'll be living back east when he's planning on retiring after this trip. Yeah, but they're just, Cesar and Mitch took me to the ball game. I got extra tickets one time from through Dick. And Cesar and I sit down here, and Mitch sits right behind us. He's a big guy. And they were hitting a lot of foul balls that night. And I saw this one heading right at us, and all of a sudden I sensed, he puts his hand up, catches the ball, and he turns around and hands it to me.
Oh,
And
wow.
he gave me the...
You still have it?
What better friends can you have?
You still have the ball?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
I'll have to show you my little collection. I got a collection in there.
Holy cow.
And I have a coat full of pins, because Dick buys me a pin every year. I'm a A's fan. I love baseball. I got a little the elephants, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A puppet.
Oh, right. I got a
If you
stuffed
press the
animal.
button inside, he goes. Roar.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, and I never buy any of it. It's just all gifts, you know, which is nice. You know, it's
We got
fun.
pretty exciting
So
out there last
I
year.
enjoy life.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And I have many dear friends at church. And now Gina, you know Gina, she was stopped by here the other day again, you know. And
Was she the one that gave you the ride to Port Chicago?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, Jane took me last year, a year ago, and Caesar, yeah. And Caesar called and wanted and interviewed me about it on the phone from China. So,
We'll give him a copy of this.
yeah, but how I got started and going, you were interested. It was in the newspaper, and I wanted to go. So I was driving in those days, and so I went. I went by myself. And then I got Jack to go another time, and then after I quit driving, it got harder to get somebody to take me. But Jane, she really wanted to go, you know, so that was fun. That was a great time. And Gina, she just loved it. She was so excited when she heard it. And you want to hear something sad? I was talking to my neighbor across the street, asking her if she had an internet, and she said yes. And I said, well, I'll be on it in Port Chicago. And I told her what to do, you know. Port Chicago. She knew nothing about it, and I was devastated. I was just devastated. How can you not know about Port Chicago? You know, it just,
Well,
it's
you're
not
here-
right.
You're here to educate people.
I know. And she said, well, I wasn't even born then. Well, I don't care. It's still here. So I gave her a
Give her
short
what for,
briefing.
huh?
Yes, I did. and it's an experience in my life I don't want to ever lose. You know, it's.
So how did the Port Chicago explosion change your life, if at all?
I don't think it really did, because when war was over, everybody just picked up. You know, you just picked up and went on. And everyone did it. It wasn't just one person, everybody. And they didn't talk about it, which is sad that they didn't, because it would have been healthful if they had.
It was trying to be tough.
Huh?
Trying to be tough or something. It was trying to be tough.
No, I don't think so. I think it was just such a shock and the pain and just the error that we went through. People didn't talk about things.
Well, I think part of it was
When
it was such a shared sacrifice that no one wanted to take any credit for it. We all pitched in together. Maybe
Yeah,
was one
that's
thing.
exactly
'Cause that's-
right.
yeah.
And you know, the thing I really remember is President Roosevelt's words: "Is the only thing we have to fear is fear itself." And I say that to myself every once in a while. I don't let fear and ifs come into my life. And, you know, and I'm really basically in pretty darn good health at this age.
I'll say. And you got
I
a good
passed my
attitude
last physical.
and a good attitude about life.
Huh?
You're vibrant, beautiful and vibrant. is
Am
how I
I?
describe it.
Well, I do. I enjoy life and I enjoy people, you know, and there's so much to be grateful for. And I feel really grateful that I have this little place. I may be, and people say they're by themselves. I never feel alone. You know, I don't feel alone.
That's good.
You know, Michelle, when she was about 12, asked me, "Grandma, do you feel do you ever get lonely living alone?" I says, "Well, you look at it this way, Michelle. I can get up when I want to. I can go to bed when I want to. I can eat if I want to. I can do anything I want to when I want to do it. And if I really get lonely, I'll come over and see you."
Okay, well, I guess we might wrap it up. Anything else you want to say? But I think that's just a perfect note.
That's a nice
That's the
one.
happiest note I could possibly think of is you talking to your grandkids and great-grandkids and
Yeah,
telling them all these kind of stories about how wonderful life can
I
be
do.
and is.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope we didn't carry on too long.
Oh, it was perfect. Okay, you want to cut?
You can just say thank you.
Oh, I'm going to say thank you very much, and we
Sure.
really enjoyed it.
Well, good.
Yeah, could you say your full name one more time?
What's that?
Can you say your full name one more time? Your full name.
My name? Oh, Elfie Leona Hanson Goncalvez. I was a Hanson. my parents were immigrants.
Well, actually, I wanted to ask you one question. How did you meet Frank?
Oh, that's a fun story. A girl from Turlock High School moved to our high school, and Janet and I became friends, and she was a character. She said, "Elfie, I know where two of the cutest boys live." She'd come clear over to my house and drive back and show me where they lived, you know. And Joe was working in the store, and she took me over and met him, and then that's how I met him. Though was one day he was going with Anne Wilhelm, and her father said she couldn't go with him anymore because he was Portuguese. And I said, "Well, send him over. I'll go with him." And I did, and that was it.
The rest is history. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then if we'd like to hear about your parents, immigrants. That sounds unbelievable. Let's hear about that, please.
About your parents.
Immigrated from Sweden when they were about 19. My mother came over about 19 with her sister, ended in Massachusetts, and her sister stayed there. But Mom, I guess, was a wanderer. I always admired them. They could leave their home at that age, you know. And she went to the state of Washington, and she was a cook. And she was a cook. We grew up on good food.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, she made her own bread. And during the Depression, she sold bread.
Sold bread?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah. My brother took it around. Yeah. And she'd get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
How'd she meet your father?
I never really knew, but they met in San Francisco because she moved from there, from Washington to San Francisco. And I don't know if they met in church. I think Mom was quite religious, so it had to be in church. Couldn't have been a dance hall.
Right.
Was he an immigrant as well?
Huh?
So where did he immigrate from? Where was he from?
Sweden.
He was from Sweden too?
Well, he was born on the Gotland Island, which Mom always said wasn't real Swedish.
Oh. Pseudo-Swedish.
But he was a Hansen.
Okay, good enough.
And my mother was an Erickson.
Erickson.
Yeah, and anyway, and it's they were good people, hardworking people. You know, and I helped take care of both of them.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, well, thank you very much. And
You'll be here forever if you don't shut it off.
Yeah.
That would be okay. We could.
That'd be okay. You ask me questions.
Oh, you
I have
didn't
a
look
feeling you're a good cook too. Maybe we'll stick around for dinner.
Oh, pictures. Sorry. We wanted to see
You
the
wanted to see my
Yeah,
pictures.
keep going, please. And, yeah, just.
Okay.
That's me in 1944.
Absolutely gorgeous,
Wow.
beautiful.
Red hair.
You got red hair.
Wow, wow,
Wow.
wow.
And you see my little pin? It says
Yeah.
Navy.
There's just something about the girls of the 40s
Yeah.
that looks extra beautiful. Maybe it's the hair, you know, very nice hair and stuff, yeah.
This pose I thought was sexy.
Ah.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. No doubt about that.
Anyway, I had these taken for Frank when he went overseas.
All
And
right.
he had a little one that he had in his wallet, but his big one like this got,
Destroyed.
yep, it went
Yeah.
down with the ship. And you wanted to see what he looked like.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Isn't he
he-
cute?
Oh boy. See if I can zoom in a little.
Huh?
See if I can zoom in here.
You get, are you taking?
Yeah. In there. Zoom in.
This we took when he came home on leave.
Now we see why half a dozen kids.
Yeah.
Isn't he a cute guy?
Sure.
And this is what he looked like when he died.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can put it over there so the camera can see it. Yeah. Zoom in. Yeah.
And guess who was with him when he died?
You?
Yep, he wanted me there.
Oh.
I was there. And this is when we were down in Long Beach.
Okay.
He's in a sailor's outfit. Yep. Oh, that's great.
I think he had his tailor-mades on there. I bought him those tailor-mades. And this is in, we were married in 40, so this is in, I think, February of 41. I had to have my tonsils out.
Oh.
And I was down home in the ranch with my mother.
Oh, so that's in Turlock?
Yeah, so he just came, and he went back home and was working, you know.
Oh, that's
So
a
that's
sweet
a picture, yeah. And these are my last roses on West Street, the home we built. I had roses there too. And he had given them to me as a start, yeah. So anyway,
And so,
that's
Sure.
that's the way the cookies
here's
crumble.
some beautiful ones right here. Look at this one.
Isn't that pretty?
Oops.
Yeah. Better, knowing me, I'd leave my watch. What'd I do with it?
So if you want to go ahead and de-mic her, then I'll go ahead and go get the scanner.
Do
We,
what?
turn this off. It's
Good, good. And they escorted him
Okay.
all the way through town up to Oakmont.
Yes.
And So he had a full military burial there.
So he's buried right here in Oakmont. Where's that located?
Huh? Oakmont?
It's just right here
Yeah,
in town?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
right.
yeah. The foothills there, Lafayette, around that area.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, sure, we could drive you out there sometime. Maybe next time we come by, we'll drive out there so I can see.
Well, I have my place though. I'm going to be in Queen of Heaven,
Okay.
and I'm going to be in a glass niche.
Okay, all right. Okay.
601.
Okay, we'll put that off for a long time. Yeah.
I even have the cremation all set.
So we'll
I've
need
had
the
that
power
paid for
supply
years.
To be honest, maybe you should just bring that other one because it's got all the
They're all
ports.
back there in the
That's right here.
basket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we have everything else soon. Okay.
Well, nothing like planning for the future, huh?
Huh?
Nothing like planning for the future.
You want to sit down for a minute?
Oh, I'm okay. I've been sitting the whole time.
Yeah, oh, yeah. That's what happens to me, you know.
Yeah, I gotta move a little.
Oh, I didn't tell you the wonderful thing that happened yesterday.
Okay.
You had your whole family over
See
here.
this cane?
Yeah.
This is Henry.
Okay.
And I lost Henry months ago.
Oh.
And I couldn't find Henry. So when Michelle was here yesterday, she says, "Where do you think you lost him?" I said, "Well, the only place I can think is right by my bed. I would lay him like that, and he could be there." But I think Jack had looked under the bed, and he said he couldn't find it, you know. So unbeknownst to me, she takes the oldest boy, and he gets down with the flashlight, and there it is, right where I get into bed all the time. It's laying there right on the floor.
How did Jack miss that?
And he comes out and he hands it to me. And I said, "Oh, thank you." It didn't dawn on me. And Michelle says, "That's Henry." Oh, I got Henry back.
How did Jack miss that?
What else do you need to understand? There's one more box, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, maybe that is the one out in the trunk. Okay.
Okay.
I was focused on computers. We can't go anywhere anyway. The gardener parked behind me.
We think this is the movie we're watching. It's actually about the Canadian Air Force,
Oh,
maybe, and I think that might be it, but so we're watching it last night, and we're not sure if it's the same movie, but that one came out in '42, so it probably would have made it out to
oh,
Portugal
the
back
movie
then.
you're talking
Yeah,
about.
the
Oh.
Jimmy Cagney.
Oh, wow.
So we watch it, and he gets shot down, and he's in his plane, and then it goes,
You want it back, don't you?
well, not right away, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
I-
Do you have a DVD player?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Dick makes sure, he's wanting to give me a computer, and I can't see well enough. So, yeah. Well, thank you. Captain of the Clouds, that's what it is. Wow.
I think so. We'll have to find out.
Well, it'll be fun to watch it and see if I can still see him coming down and what happens to him. Have you watched it?
Yeah, yeah. It
Well, I
doesn't
won't
end
ask
good.
you. I won't ask you what.
I think it's the same movie. I think he only did a few war movies like that at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah, oh
And
yeah.
he actually, according to the internet, said he didn't really like the movie that much.
Oh.
He wasn't like, so I guess he didn't like the script. So I guess it was kind of, they didn't really play him up as Jimmy Cagney tough guy persona. So I guess he would go off the script and just start acting
do his-
tough
do his-
and, just, and do the gangster stuff during. And so you could tell when he goes off the script because his character just changes from this
Is
mild
that
mannered
right?
Canadian to the. Sure. Okay. And sorry, let me grab that from you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Now we're cooking.
So you lost a bunch of your stuff because your sister.
Huh?
Let's hope she still has it.
Yeah,
Just-
your sister lost a bunch of your photos and stuff. Your sister?
Yeah,
She
yeah.
lost a bunch of your
Ruthie,
photos,
yeah,
huh?
Yeah, yeah. I sent
How
her
do you
back-
lose photos?
I sent her back to her, right away because she was an Army nurse.
Oh.
And then she got married and had a Jimmy, and so then she was out of the service, right?
Well,
and,
yeah.
and Clarence wanted her to go back to Illinois with his family. This is what she did. She stayed with us for a while, but then she went back there. And so Ruthie and I, I trusted her. Mistake. And
She's your
my
sister.
my baby gown, Mom had all of us taken in this baby gown with a big lace
Yeah.
collar.
Oh yeah.
And so she wanted to use it, so I sent it back to her, and she lost that too.
She lost the gown.
I don't know what happened to it, but I never got it back.
Is she still alive?
She's out in left field. She doesn't remember one thing from
Oh,
one next.
okay.
My youngest sister died from Alzheimer's.
Your what? Your younger sister died of Alzheimer's? Oh, that's sad.
And Ruthie has, well, I was talking to her on the phone one day, and all of a sudden there was nobody there, and I think she totally forgot she was talking on the telephone.
Or just hung up and or just put the phone down and left?
Yeah, she didn't know, because I called back, no answer. And anyway, she was living down in Reseda with her daughter Barbara, and at Christmas I got a card from Oregon. No, excuse me, Idaho. They are, and her husband Glenn retired, so they went up there and bought a home, and they took her with them, so she's up there.
She's in Idaho now.
Huh? She doesn't even know it. She probably doesn't know where she is.
But she lives with them.
Yeah, when Clarence, well, Ruthie's husband died March 9th, and I'd been over to Frank's that day, and when I came home, and I already knew that he had cancer again, and when I came home there was a message on my phone from Barbara saying that Clarence had died. 10 days later Frank was dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you know, I always felt the doctors didn't do him right. But then on the other hand, if they had told him, he wouldn't have lasted that last year. He'd have gone back into the same mode he did.
Oh, yeah, like I'm ready to go or something.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
he
die
would
now.
have. Yeah, yeah.
I guess we don't have gloves on, but we can go ahead and put the photos on here and try and give them a good scan here.
You want the pictures here? Is that what you wanted?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And I'll let you and Denise handle those best you can.
I'll let you handle them.
Oh, oh no. Okay, thank you.
Usually we bring gloves, but we'll try and be extra careful here.
All the conveniences of home, huh?
Let's try this one.
You can take them out of that if you want to. You can tell how old that is, can't you?
The picture?
The frame. Oh, that's the one.
Yeah. Looks like what you find a
That's me.
Survived the Port Chicago explosion. Oh yeah, you did see that. He showed you this, right? The captain's little clouds.
Yeah.
Would
you wanna read that?
Maybe we'll send her a
Oh,
copy of that
yeah,
with
yeah.
the,
You can read it, yeah.
Yeah.
We can't give it to you because it's Netflix.
I'll try it out because I want to know whether it's the same thing. Some things you don't forget, and if I can remember that, you can just imagine what Frank must have remembered when the ship blew up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably really was etched in his brain.
it's like this Weir said, that
Yeah, who
They
can
just
deal
didn't-
with that? Sitting down to lunch with your buddy 1 minute and the next minute they're gone.
Yeah.
No one can deal with it. And to
yeah,
have it be so meaningless and horrible and the whole thing.
yeah, and and he saw all the boys out in the water with full of oil and everything,
Just suffering.
yeah. It was, and I didn't tell you this, but when they landed in Long Beach, the Red Cross was there with donuts for them, but they were throwing them at the boys, and Frank would have nothing to do with the Red Cross after that.
Why were they throwing them?
They were throwing them at the kids come off, and they're young kids coming down off the ship. They were just in fatigues. They didn't have a uniform. They lost everything. And they throwing them donuts, and he was so
Well, you
insulted.
thought that they were it's funny to catch them, or they were?
Yeah, just tossing them at all the boys. And he was so insulted that here he'd gone through all this, and they throw a donut at him.
Weird.
Yeah, weird experience, yeah.
Can't
But
believe
he
what's going
never had
on.
any use for the Red Cross
Cross?
after that. No.
I wouldn't either in his shoes.
Huh?
I wouldn't either in his shoes.
No, I know. I wouldn't like it either
Salty, yeah.
for what he'd been through, and
Grab a
then
donut.
he, yeah, you know, all he had was his fatigues. They had nothing,
Wow, they had nothing.
and I guess it took him 2 or 3 weeks to get home after the explosion. You know, you
It's too
get
much
them
of a
all
shock
together
for
and
these-
send them home. Huh?
It's too much a shock for these guys to be over there in combat and then to be back here the next day, like how they come back
Yeah,
now.
today, yeah.
And they get off the airplane. 1 minute they're there, the same day, the next minute they pop off, and it's, hey, let's go have pizza.
I know.
How
Yeah,
can you
nothing happened.
compute that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, and it wasn't that way then. You know, if you wrote, you had to send a V letter.
You had to be censored, right?
Yeah, huh?
It had to go through the censors,
Let's go ahead,
right?
keep going here.
Again,
We'll do a little
and
one.
they were all censored. Yes, they were censored. When he wrote home after his ship blew up, and he said the only thing he said on it was
Sorry, go ahead.
was I have so much to be thankful for this Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So what are you going to do with all this info you got today, Don?
We're just going to give it to you.
you're
This
going to
is
get
all for
you're
you.
going to give it to me?
Yep.
Yeah. And then if you want to give it to anyone else, that's okay. But we're not even going to put our names on it. Well, we want to keep totally separate from. By the way, I should say, I don't mean to brag too much, but like, I worked for Chevron for 30 years. I made enough money for me to retire, and I kind of didn't worry about my family. But meanwhile, my family made a whole bunch of money off of our investments. So Denise and I never have to work again, ever. And our kids never have to work again, ever. So we're just doing
We're not
this
telling
for
them
fun.
that.
You are. You're just
So
doing.
we don't even want our names on it. We don't even
Oh,
put our
re-
names on
really?
it. It's totally, this is your story. It's just something fun we do to goof off. Believe
You're
it or
just
not.
doing a favor.
And the thing is, well, I'm
Oh,
not sure
nice.
we like the stories, but we get a lot
Oh,
out
yeah,
of
we
it.
do. Oh, yeah, I've learned more about World War II history than I ever knew.
I bet you have.
Yeah.
I bet you have. Oh, don't forget this.
Oh, yeah, he probably would. Let me pull that. Let me put that right there. Because there's no wind, okay. They probably would forget this too, actually.
Well, it's
Yeah,
been
we've had
quite.
to- we've
It's
had to
been.
go
It's
back.
been a very enjoyable experience. Let's
Oh,
put it
thank
that
you.
way.
See, that's the whole point. We want everybody to have fun.
You enjoyed it, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. I love hearing people's stories. Their lives are more interesting than mine. Usually.
Yeah, I know. I do too. You know, it's just like little Mary that was a assistant city attorney in San Francisco. You know, and I could take care of her. It's really something. You know.
Was it the 100-year-old lady?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I had a 100-year-old man too. I took care of. He died just before he turned 100, and so did she. But her sister Berta, Mary's sister, she lived to 100, and I went to her 100 years birthday party over at Rossmore. Yeah.
And she was still sharp as a pin and everything.
Yeah, she was.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's
yeah,
good.
yeah. They were beautiful people. I just loved them. Yeah.
But you have no desire to go to Rossmore.
Huh?
You have no desire to go to Rossmore.
I wouldn't live there.
Yeah, you don't want to live there. Yeah.
Never did.
Working there is fine. Living there.
Too many restrictions.
Oh.
Too many restrictions. You can't do this and you
Aye.
can't do that. And you know, and you're retired. Come on.
Yeah, how wild are you guys going to
Yeah,
be, right?
yeah.
You go out and vandalize
I know
or
they have a
something?
great time,
Come
but it takes
on.
a certain person to live under those conditions in my book.
So it's run by control freaks, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
The first time I drove through there, and I remember looking in the cars as I met, and the faces were so serious. Yeah. And it just, I got to do something about that. That's terrible, you know. So I ended up being called Sunshine.
Oh, yeah. Well, you always seem like you're happy.
I am. I feel it inside.
Well, that's what attracted me.
A little nutty along with it, you know.
You caught my attention, and I was so proud of you for speaking up at Port Chicago. And I said, let's. We don't do that many videotapings anymore, but we wanted to get you.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Dick is sure having fun with it.
Oh, is he? Okay,
Oh,
good.
yeah. He calls and he's again this morning. I'm looking for that lady that's become a celebrity there.
So the
Do you
internet,
know
so
where she
she's
is?
gone viral on the internet.
Yeah, always has something going. But you know, it's interesting because the other kids haven't. I've told them about it, and I haven't heard from Cindy,
Oh, they haven't.
and I haven't heard from Jack.
They haven't looked it up
They
yet.
saw it, but it doesn't mean anything.
Oh, they looked at it.
Huh?
They've looked at it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They've got internet. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do?
Whatever.
But Dick, that's a different story.
Oh,
you know.
well, he's more into that
Yeah.
drama stuff.
Yeah.
That's why.
He
show.
he's very expressive.
Yes.
You know,
He's
and
the artistic drama guy.
Yeah, and he's he's an actor.
Yep. Yeah, he loves that performance
He
stuff.
he and his friend Brian have written a script. Get the right one. I think it's Crime and Consequences or something like
Oh,
that.
that's not, yeah. and
Anyway,
take off
he
from-
sends me the copies, so I've read the story all the way through, and it's a great story. It's going on the internet.
Oh. Oh, wow.
Matter of fact, I'll go get you a card. You might
Okay,
be
you can look
interested.
him up.
And that reminds me, if you could have her, maybe have her autograph in here on somewhere just for the fun of it, and then,
Kind of mark where she lived and
or
stuff.
on this one, whichever one she wants, maybe want to autograph it, and then go ahead and write her husband's name underneath, you know. I'll make
You
sure
want you to mark where they lived in Clyde? Oh, good. That was Henry, not
That was
me.
Henry.
Yeah, I didn't do that. Or me.
Everybody doesn't do that, do they?
No, I didn't do that. Okay. I guess he wants you to write your husband's name somewhere down here. That's step one.
Right in here.
Yeah, that's fine. And then maybe you could show kind of mark where you lived in Clyde.
I hope you can read it.
I got Frank Edward.
Calves. Can you read that?
C-A-L.
V like in Victor.
Oh, V-E-S. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Where we lived.
And
Let's
there's
see, where
Clyde's
is-
here.
Can you see the streets?
That says Wellington, and that says
It says what?
Norman. That one says Wellington. That says Norman. That says
oh,
Essex.
Oh, Norman, yeah. And what's up here?
That says
Wellington.
Wellington, I guess, is that one. That's Norman.
Yeah.
That's Essex. That's something. M.
Okay.
Beginning with an M.
Okay, we were about right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. We were in the second block.
So you're closer to the water?
We're closer to the hills, yeah.
Closer to the hills?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We were the last street up. Our backyard was the last one. Now they have a street running past there now, yeah.
So how many people live in Clyde today?
They said the other day, I guessed that what did I guess?
Is it doubled?
I don't think there might be 1,500 maybe at the most.
So it's still a little village.
Oh yeah, but they have built apartments there and out in this
okay.
open space that Frank grew through, you know. Yeah.
You couldn't drive through there today, huh?
No. And there's a grove of eucalyptus trees sitting on the hill there.
Mhm.
And when we lived there, there was a big, beautiful pink, and I mean pink, hotel.
Bright pink, huh?
And it had a huge swimming pool.
Oh.
And the people from San Francisco and all places would come there and spend their summers in that hotel.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
I
noted.
guess it's getting out of the city, but
it's gone now. They
oh,
tore it
yeah,
down.
yeah.
But it was there when we lived there.
The things they tear down.
I used to walk up there and look at it all the time.
You never went swimming?
Huh?
You never went.
No, there was
just
no water
hotel
in it.
guests.
There was no water in it. It wasn't open when we lived there. It was already closed.
Oh! It's way old.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it was way old. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's already closed down. Yeah.
Oh, it's already a derelict.
Yeah, but,
Oh.
but the building sat there. Yeah.
And there it was.
It was a 2 or 3 stories.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
really pretty.
I guess he wants you to autograph somewhere on here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you're a celebrity. You're on the internet.
What's it say?
Is Martinez Historical Society walking
oh.
tour of Martinez State
Oh.
Theater. It
Oh.
probably just talks about the history. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You say, I was here.
Yeah, you might want to write that. We were here at the Port Chicago, but Frank and I were here. I don't know if you want to.
Did you want to put like a note, say, Frank and I were watching a movie at this theater during the explosion? I don't. You can shorten it down quite a bit, but you don't
It's
have.
a good idea.
Yeah, you don't have to write all that out. If we want you to write a whole novel now. Did that get finished?
We got one more filled over here.
I wanted to say when all hell broke loose.
Yeah. That's good. It's very expressive. I like that.
I'm glad we finished the interview before the chainsaw kicked in.
Oh, no kidding. Oh my gosh.
What?
Oh, says they're glad we finished the interview before the chainsaw kicked in. You hear-
Chainsaw?
Did you hear it?
No.
You hear that?
He's a ways off.
Oh, okay.
Is it coming from there? Don't tell me now our gardener's just coming here. Hey, there's a gardener. You know.
Yeah, there's a gardener there. He parked behind me.
Oh, he did. They're
Well,
not
we were
supposed-
hoping that he would finish up and go, before we had to
We'll
leave.
just well, he'll move it real quick. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We'll work around it.
Well, we're still not quite out the door, so maybe he'll get out of here. Yeah, I guess that is actually his weed whacker or something, but it sounds like a chainsaw.
Oh, yeah, that's what it sounds like he's doing. They don't know how to garden. I don't.
They
They're
just
they're
cut
not
things.
allowed to touch any of that over there.
Good,
The-
because all they know
Teresa tells them, don't touch any of that.
is on threat of death.
But you know what? That front where my front garden is,
Mhm.
and I make that front porch.
Mhm.
I used to garden that whole thing because the
Oh.
people that lived here didn't want it. But well, Melanie liked to garden. Okay, fine. And I was gone one day, and I came home, and she had built a little brick fence between us. And that's why my bench is turned like it is.
Yeah, you stay away from my side.
Yeah. Can
Well,
you believe it?
la-di-da.
Yeah, yeah. And she,
Jeez.
and I thought that's.
Yeah, so that was a good, clear message. Thank you very much.
She doesn't like my lilac tree.
What?
Get the keys.
She doesn't like your
She
lilac?
doesn't like my lilac tree.
Why not?
I do.
Okay.
And it was there
Fine to me.
before. It was there before she came.
Yeah, it has right away.
Yeah.
I
You
know.
never know. You
People
know.
are weird.
But I've discovered we were really kind of close for a while. You know. She complains.
Mm.
She complains about everything, but she won't do anything about it.
She just likes to complain. It's
yeah,
fun.
I get tired of that.
Yeah, you
know.
really do.
Yeah, if you're gonna complain, you do something.
Yeah.
know.
Some people just enjoy.
They
The act of
enjoy.
complaining.
They just enjoy doing complaining.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
Because they get mad when you say, "Well, why don't you do da 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 and solve
Yeah,
your problem?" They get mad.
And if she told me she wanted to do that, it would have been okay. But I was gone.
And like she snuck it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fine.
So, yeah, that's what it says to me too. And they're both very ill.
They are?
Oh,
You mean
gosh.
physically ill?
Oh, yeah.
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 Oh.
He,
But she could be a little
it's
touched then, yeah.
amazing that he's still alive. He's
Really?
nice. Yeah. He has one lung emphysema.
Ooh.
High
Is he a
blood pressure,
smoker?
High blood pressure. Everything.
Let's just have a strong heart. That's the only thing keeping him going.
Yeah, and he's on oxygen.
Yeah.
He doctors himself, goes on gets infections, and he takes some medication. Yeah, and she's a diabetic also. And he's a diabetic too. Yeah. And they're in their 60s. And here I'm 93, and I just passed. I had a physical, and the doctor sends me the letter, and she says, "You passed every test. It's normal."
Hot dog, yeah.
Everything. Vitamins.
All your blood levels, blood.
Everything, everything. And I go see my cardiac doctor this month, and I know my cholesterol last time was 159, so I know that that's okay too.
There you go.
And the liver is fine.
I think the gardening keeps you active.
Yeah, and it's what you think too.
Yeah. Well, you have a very happy attitude.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah, I think it does.
I call it a positive faith and a positive attitude.
Exactly, yeah. They say laughter's the best medicine, so.
It is.
Gotta laugh more, Donald.
Okay.
You take it too seriously. You really do. Especially like in the military, they just teach you to take it seriously. They just teach you to be crazy, right? And it's the same thing in the oil business a little bit. Not really, but just that attitude
They're
of just work 24
really
hours,
uptight in
just
the
go
oil
crazy.
business.
Your life, if you don't get this done, you're no man, you know.
Yeah, you do, right.
Yeah.
You don't need a home life. You just work for the company. That's your life.
You know what I told the kids? When I get ready to kick it in, I'm going to go out here and sit on my swing.
You just swing
And
your
I'm
way
just going
out.
to kick it in. And nobody's going to know I'm there until they smell the awful odor.
Oh.
So Charlie, the mortician, told me, he says, "Don't worry about that. Your rigor mortis leaves and the body gets soft."
And you get limp again, yeah.
And
You're
they
just
went,
slumped
when
over.
I told the kids that, they said, "Oh, Mom," I said, "They didn't get the message.
Yeah.
Call me more often."
Yeah, I was gonna say,
You
right?
know?
Wouldn't somebody drop in before it got to that
Yes.
stage?
I hear from Dick down in Burbank
More than,
just about every day,
oh,
and he does a lot of driving. He's ready to retire, but his wife won't let him.
she doesn't want him home all day, huh?
Uh-huh.
She doesn't want him
Yeah,
home
and
all
so
day.
when he's on driving on these long trips, he calls me. Sometimes he gets stuck in traffic, and we talk for a whole hour.
Ooh,
Yeah.
must have a good phone
It's
plan.
no. It's he gave me the cell, and it's on his, and so it's free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when Jane calls me from China, I guess that's free too because
Oh,
it goes through the government.
diplomatic, yeah.
She finally gave me her address, and it only cost me a regular stamp to send her a letter.
Oh, because it goes over on a government plane.
Goes through the art, goes through
To
the
the
military.
government
Yeah,
pouch.
goes through the
There were
military.
gloves.
Oh, whoops. Okay, sorry about that.
Well,
We soiled your
do you
pictures.
want to hand it back to her?
Okay.
What's that?
We want you to put your photos away now, I guess.
We got them all scanned.
Huh?
We got your photos all scanned.
You want your, can you just,
Did you get the newspaper?
can you just put that on there? Yeah, it's in the middle of the book.
The rest of them.
They're all tucked in there. I didn't actually touch them really.
Oh, there. They're all over here.
I had a piece of paper I was looking at. Should have got two pieces.
So I don't get my
Why do you put
My
the glove on?
finger oils all over it.
Oh,
Okay, I think you said the
yeah.
everything was in one check.
Yeah,
They're
it's
all
all in.
tucked in there.
It's all in here. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's a note. That you can tell that's been around, hasn't it? That
Day or
frame.
two, huh?
That frame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, I was a redhead.
Well, I can see remnants of it.
That's why people don't think I'm 93, because I don't have gray hair.
Well, it's not all gray. You're right. Yeah, it's got a lot of color left.
I have it here.
Just on
That-
the
I'd
others.
beg you for
That
72, maybe 68.
Old enough not to behave herself.
Yeah, you're old enough to be allowed to do what you want.
See my new ficus tree down there?
This
Denise?
guy?
The big one?
The tall guy or the bushy
No, the
guy?
big one. That's a brand new one. That's my Christmas present from Dick.
This one here?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's something. They got two varieties in there.
Oh, I thought that was one of your pictures.
Oh. And I thought the other one was pretty until I got that big one.
Yeah, the leaves are very decent.
Isn't it?
today.
Yeah.
So this is a ficus also?
Yeah, they're both ficus. I've had that one a year.
Well, I got a
Yeah.
question though for you.
But Dick always wants to know what I want for Christmas. So I told him I want a new ficus, but so you have to give me the money because, you know, I want to buy my own tree.
Oh. Give me
It's just like this swing. I didn't pay for this swing, but I bought it and put it together.
So they just go to a gardening store